Hey, this is Damna from Elvenking, and you're listening to Broken Neck Radio.
Hello, listeners of Broken Neck Radio. This is DJ Zang here, and I have with me on the line, I have Damna, the vocalist for the band Elvenking. How are you doing, Damna?
Hi, man. I'm good, thank you. What about you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for taking the time and doing this interview. I really, really appreciate it. Myself and all the listeners, we're really loving the new album. We really want to get to know you a little bit better in this interview. So I'll get right down to it. Now, normally I ask people who they think, the godfather of metal is and stuff like that, but, that question gets a little bit redundant at times. So my first question for you, Damna, is growing up, what band, we all have that one band that just kind of sort of sticks with us our whole life. Like me personally, my personal band is Slayer, that stuck with me since I was a teenager. What band has basically stuck with you your whole life?
Oh, well, that's a pretty tough question for me because I have very, various and different influences, musically speaking. But I think that since I was a little, a small boy, I think that Iron Maiden really were the band of my life, for introducing me to heavy metal and all that was around the band, the great covers they had for their albums, the lyrics, and all the great shows they made on stage. And there are a lot of different bands which really helped me grow in music, but I think that Iron Maiden were the very first ones. Yeah.
Now, I guess what age, actually, here's a better one. What age did you first started noticing yourself, your musical? We all start off as really, really young. We have a certain type of music, basically influenced by our parents.
Yeah.
What did you notice that your musical taste started to switch into more of a heavier side?
Well, I have to thank my brother for that, because I was 6 or 7 years old, and he just used to bring home these cassettes, like Europe. The first album was, I think, Europe, The Final Countdown, and that was one of the very first things that really, I really understood that, even if I was very, very young, I was a boy, but I really understood that was the type of music I really liked. Even if, I used to listen to a lot of different things like Michael Jackson, Madonna, Prince, and all those, the great pop artists of the 80s. But Europe was the first cassette. I think I was 6 years old, and then all the other bands came, like Def Leppard, Iron Maiden, Aerosmith, Metallica, and so on. So I was very, 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 very small.
Now,
yeah.
You're the vocalist for Elvenking. Do you play instruments yourself as well?
Well, actually, I started as a guitar player. Many don't know this. When I was I think 9 or 10, I used to take classical guitar lessons, and I took guitar lessons for about 3 or 4 years. Then it switched to electric guitar, and when I was 15 or 16. I joined a cover band. We made cover versions of songs by Metallica, Manowar, Iron Maiden, and so on. It was classical heavy metal cover band, and we needed a singer, and we didn't have a singer. So I just for fun I tried to sing, because when I was a kid I used to sing. I used to do like. I used to impersonate Axl Rose. I used to sing like him because I really loved his voice when I was a kid. And so it was for fun. I just tried, and then it just happened that I had kind of a good voice, let's say that, and I really enjoyed it. So that's where it started. When I was 15.
Mm-hmm. Now. As a vocalist, or are you professionally trained or self-taught?
Well, actually, basically, I'm self-taught. Even if after some years, I really needed a little bit of training, because, of course, you can, you can teach yourself, but in the end, it's you really need, if you want to do this professionally, when you have to do tours and sing like 10 or 12 or 20 shows in a row, you you really have to know how things work inside yourself, or else you're fucked. Or else you're fucked. So basically, I am self-taught because one of the main things for me, and I think this was a little bit of a difficult thing for me to grow in a short space of time, vocally speaking, because I really didn't want any training to change myself. I wanted to be really wild, really free to express myself and to use my voice, most naturally as I could. Maybe this slowed me down a little bit in my growth, but nowadays I'm really happy because I think I found my way, my way of singing, and I'm happy for that.
Mm-hmm. Now, the band itself has had a few lineup changes, and that even includes yourself taking a bit of a hiatus from the band and then returning.
Yeah.
Do you feel, how does, with the lineup you've got now, and with you taking your time off and stuff, has that solidified the band a lot more, would you say?
Well, yeah, I think that to tell you the truth, those were, I mean, my when I was out of the band, it was a big mistake, and of course we learned many things from that mistake, because it was just stupid stuff going on between us, so it was really, useless, that kind of lineup change. But then we understood it, and I think we never made that error again in the latest years. Unfortunately, we had to change many other members because life just changes, and people, the guys who were playing with us were just having different things happening in their lives, so they had to pull off. So there was no bad feelings or bad vibes between us and the members that left. But fortunately, now we got a very strong lineup, and I think that the latest changes really reinforced the band, as you said. They really strengthened the technical level of the band. It really raised, thanks to the new bass player and the drummer, and this really gave us or more chances to play better live shows, to do more things on stage, in the studio. I mean, so yeah, it was really good for us.
Now, we'll get to the new album here in a moment, but I wanted to briefly touch on your 2007 release of the Scythe, or Scythe. I can never pronounce that word right.
Okay. The Scythe, we pronounce the Scythe, but we're Italian.
The Scythe. Yeah, that was, so much that's been dubbed one of your most, well, until we get, a little bit more with the Pagan Manifesto, but, prior to the most recent release, though, that was basically your most successful album so far. When you guys were recording the most recent one, the Pagan Manifesto, did you guys reflect at all back, when you guys were recording the Scythe? Did you guys, sort of, okay, well, we did this right during this album, we should do it this way? Did you reflect at all on that?
Well, actually, we reflected not only on the Scythe album, but on the whole discography, on the whole past of Elvenking. When we were writing the new songs for the Pagan Manifesto, we were listening to old demos and all ideas we just trashed throughout all the years, and there were also ideas from the Scythe years, from that period of time, and it was so cool to be able to to be influenced by ourselves, and that just gave us that, I think that something more that we needed to write an album like the Pagan Manifesto. So yes, in a way we did reflect on the past, and we were able to gain new strength and new energies for the new album.
Mm-hmm. Now I noticed that your stage makeup is quite intense.
Yeah.
Is there a story behind that? Do each of you bring your own personal story to each one of your stage makeup?
Well, actually, we didn't have that in the past, or at least not in the latest years, because we used to have some light makeup during the very first album back in 2001. I think that we got that back because we felt that it was a way to communicate even more with our fans, to communicate our message to our fans. And I don't know how to explain that, but we just tried during the Era tour, the previous album, we tried some makeup on because we wanted to have a more important, stage presence. And we wanted to be a little bit more spectacular with costumes and so on. And we just realized that the fans were overwhelmed by that, and this connection between us and our fans grew harder and harder, and that's why we decided to carry on this thing, to have more makeup, more professional makeup and more professional outfits that we are wearing on stage, and this is what was missing, I think, in our gigs. So yeah, there are no special stories behind it. We just took this kind of pagan imagery and pagan symbols, and we mixed them, and we wanted to have something that was good to see, and that was at the same time spectacular and at the same time easy to do, because we have to do that before joining the stage.
Now, most recently on May 27th, out here in North America, I guess you'd best to say, the new album, The Pagan Manifesto, was released. And how has the cycle been so far of this new album for you guys? Like, how's the feedback? I mean, I can see what we see, through the media, but as a band, how is the reception, not only just on stage, but through your social media outlets? Is it, would you say it was more than what you expected?
Yes, I mean, we were aiming for this because we really wanted to deliver to the fans like kind of the ultimate Elvenking album this time. We didn't want to repeat the mistakes we made in the past, and with this I mean all the experiments we made music-wise, with albums like Red Silent Tides, for example. And actually we hoped that this album would have been accepted so good, and fortunately it has. I mean, the press is giving us great reviews and enthusiastic reactions, and that is very important and very good. But the very good thing is that the fans were absolutely happy about this album, and we see it day by day on our social networks. You see on Facebook, our fans are sending us pictures with the album, and they are all so fucking happy to hear these new songs, and this is very good. I mean, this album was written also because of them, because of the great connection there is between us and our fans. So we are really happy that they are liking it so much.
Mm-hmm. Now, you guys have toured with Primal Fear. How was that?
That was good. That was great. I mean, that happened, I think, in 2010. We were supporting the Red Silent Tides album, and it was great. I mean, with Primal Fear, it's like, we know Matt Sinner very well because he's our manager, and it just, happened that there was this, spot before Primal Fear, and he asked us directly if we wanted to join, and of course we did. It was very good. I mean, we had the chance to tour Germany a lot, and that was great. And it's when you tour with professionals, it's always great. I mean, it's awesome.
Now, one of the things I've noticed that you guys kind of set yourself apart with is the use of the violin with metal.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's a really strong point that separates you guys? I mean, after when I was listening to the entire album, The Pagan Manifesto, I mean, I can really pull that. I can really hear that violin as a really strong influence on that album.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's a fair thing to say, that that's one of the things you guys pride yourself?
Yes. Yeah. I absolutely think so. I mean, that was one of the main things we thought when we started the band, and when we decided to have a member that played the violin only, Mm-hmm. And we were really, back in the days, we were really into bands like Skyclad, for example, the English band who used to, I think it was one of the very first who mixed heavy metal, thrash metal, with folk music, and I think the result was amazing, was fascinating, and we were absolutely fascinated by it, and of course there are other bands that mixed different worlds, very 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 different worlds together. Like for example, I know Blind Guardian, who used to mix heavy metal, power metal with these great orchestration and classical music, and it was very very interesting. And I think we wanted to do something like that with Elvenking. We didn't want to sound like any other band, but we wanted to mix two different worlds together and have this particular and original sound. So I think still nowadays the violin is a very strong feature in our music.
And I'm sure some of the fans that that have heard the album and have seen probably YouTube videos or have attended some of your shows. What how most of guitars they have Ibanez and whatnot and all the different makes of guitars, and you guys have your drum sponsors, and what would be the what make and what is the name brand of the violin that Leithian is playing?
Oh, they're called wood violins, and I know that we got an endorsement for that. We got a sponsor for that. And
who's your sponsor? Who's your sponsor? We're gonna drop a name for them.
Sorry?
Your sponsor's name.
For the violin, you mean?
Yeah.
It's called Wood Violins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's. I think they sponsor a lot of great artists, and it was very. Our Leithian, our violin player, when he just contacted them, he was very happy because he was chasing this company for a long time, and he was very happy because this is a very good brand of violins and electric violins. So yeah, it's very cool.
Now, you guys have toured, all over Europe, especially Germany, like you mentioned a few moments ago. You've toured extensively in Germany. What would you say is where would you say is the craziest city you've played in, and where would you like to play the most?
Well, I have to remember a little bit. I think that all the like countries like Czech Republic and Poland. People there is really crazy. They're really warm as a crowd, and we really enjoy every time we play over there because they're crazy, absolutely crazy, and that's great. And I think that those are the metal countries that are still left in the world. Apart from Scandinavia and so on. And unfortunately, we never played Canada. That would be great. That would be great. We played in the U.S. once in Atlanta, but we never played in Canada, so that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be really good to get you guys up. We've got a few of the metal festivals up here. We've got Farmageddon, Armstrong Metal Fest, and As Hell over in Western Canada. Those are the three, big ones over here. So it'd be nice to get you guys on those.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, we'll have to work that out.
Now, before we, my next question actually is back onto the Pagan Manifesto. Where would you say, where was your main influence when you wrote that album?
Well, the main influence, as I said, was, part of the main influence was ourselves, the old sound and the old enthusiasm we had when we were songwriting. And I think that in the latest years, everything became so, I would say, not routine, but, something like that. And we needed to gain a little bit back all that enthusiasm we had when we first started the band, and to write a song was something new, something special, We had to have that feeling back. And I think that by listening to all those, old cassettes we were recording and, back in the days, all these ideas and riffs and songs, and it was very good. It was refreshing. It was great. And I think that also a great influence for this album was the energy we got from the previous tour, the summer tour we made for, supporting the previous album Era, where our fans, gave us so, this great big intense energy, and I think that we used it for writing the new album.
Now, living or dead, past or present, who would you love to share the stage with?
Oh, That's a difficult question. I would say Guns N' Roses, but the ones, like the Use Your Illusion tour or something like that.
Oh, that version of
Guns N' Roses, of course, yes. Not the actual one.
Well, lastly and most importantly, a zombie apocalypse hits. Who in the band dies first?
Probably will be me.
And why?
Because I'd love to be a zombie, so I'd ask Mr. Zombie, please bite me and bite me.
Okay, well, thanks again, and this is the opportunity where I allow you to take over and give a message to the fans and the listeners and the people that are going to be attending your upcoming shows.
Well, hi everybody. I really hope you'll give a chance to the Pagan Manifesto, our new album. We really hope to come to Canada soon. But for all the others who are listening, we'll just meet on the road this autumn or winter, of course. So we'll see you on stage.
All right. Thanks, Damna. Thanks again for taking the time for hanging out with us, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you so much for the interview.